Alrighty, so this is going to be the solution video to that Pacman challenge. The idea was we have a stationary Pacman that we made here a couple videos ago, and I just want to have the onStep method used to make it open and close its mouth kind of over and over forever. For this to keep a true Pacman aesthetic, I'm going to start by changing the app dot steps per second to be... let's do like 3. That might be kind of crazy. Or let's do 6. Let's do something like that. Also, I'm going to make this our Pacman equal to the arc over there, just because I'm going to have to be changing the parts of this. And then, we might need to look in the documentation eventually to see how I refer to this. Is it like start angle and sweep angle? We'll find out. So, okay, all we want to do is create an onStep function. And onStep, we're going to say if the Pacman.sweep angle... All right, well, I'm not trusting myself here, so let's check the documentation for arcs really quick. Because is it called sweep angle? Arc. It is. Look at that. It's called, we got a center X, a center Y, a width, a height, and a start angle, and a sweep angle. Great. Okay. So we're going to check if Pacman.sweep angle, if that is less than 360, what we're going to do, if it's less than 360, meaning it's not sweeping all the way around, I want to move, so let's see, it was at 135 going 270. I want to move each of these in a little bit. So the 135 I'll bring down, and the 270 I'll bring up. So let's do Pacman.start angle minus equals, let's try 15. I want to go by 15s just because 360 is divisible by 15. I did 45, which is divisible by 15, so that should look okay. And then I'll also do Pacman.sweep angle. Now, part of the issue here is that if I'm moving the start angle up a little bit, the sweep angle gets pushed by that much as well. So I need to be doing kind of extra work on the sweep angle to move it. So instead of plus 15, I think I'm going to do plus equals 30. Let's even see if this makes the Pacman close his mouth. Pacman. Well, let's see if that helps now. Oh, I love it. Okay. And then we're just going to say, okay, if, we're going to need to do this in two parts. I love this. Again, this is a great example. Watch, I'm going to show you why we need to do this in 2 parts in case you've been confused by that before, like why I need to show states. I can do elif, or really I could just say else, right? Once I'm not less than 360, I'll want to try, once I hit 360, I want to start opening again. But watch what ends up happening. If I do this and I just take these two and reverse them, so change that minus to a plus, that plus to a minus, watch, it'll close fine, but then it'll just open up like teeny bit, teeny bit, teeny bit. And I want it to open up all the way. And this is because I'm starting out wider and I'm taking a step and a step and a step. But then once I get to 360, I'm only stepping out once to 15 and then back in, because once I'm back this way, I'm less than 360 and I'm going back in. So here's a case where we need to do states. We need to have a state of I'm wide enough, so I'm going to start closing. I'm closed, so now I'm going to start opening. So to do that, we're going to have to add a Pacman. This is kind of like the jumping thing from before. Dot is closing. So I'm gonna check. All right, if Pacman dot sweep angle is less than. Well, actually, hold on. I want to start Pacman dot closing is true because I know it's starting with an open mouth and it'll start to close after that. So we'll start that as true. And then we're going to say if Pacman dot sweep angle instead of as less than 360, we started at a sweep angle of 270. So if I'm ever less than 270, what I really want to do, and we'll move that stuff later, is I just want to say, all right, once I'm less than or equal to 270, wait a minute. Less than 270 would be more open. So I'm less than or equal to 270. I want to make sure that I'm saying Pacman dot is closing. I'm setting it equal to true. And otherwise, not otherwise, I just want to say elif Pacman dot sweep angle is greater than or equal to 360, which since a sweep angle can only be between 1 and 360, it really might as well just be double equals 2. But if my sweep angle is greater than or equal to 360, I'm going to set Pacman dot is closing to false. So here's my state changes, right? State check and changes. And then here I'm going to be checking, all right, if Pacman dot is closing. So if this is true, if it is closing, I want to start closing by increasing the sweep angle and increasing the start angle, and decreasing the start angle and increasing the sweep angle. And then I'll say else, if it's not true, then I want to do this. Now we're going to see, I think, that's no good. Oh. Pacman dot sweep angle. Sweep angle. Sweep angle. Sweep angle. Okay, let's try this again. Woo! There it is. We got Pacman opening and closing their maw. So we did it. I'll leave this up for people to, be able to take a moment to see exactly what's going on here. So we started by, first I lowered the steps per second. It defaults to 30. So if I do this, it'd be like zooming up and like, ugh, don't do that, Pacman. That's spooky. But if I make it like 6 or even 3 per second, it's going to get that old kind of style. That's a little too slow. I like the 6 per second that we had. That old style where you can kind of see the jittery animation. That's a style choice sometimes, even though in the past it might have been a limitation of the hardware. So anyways, so over here, we created Pacman, stored it in a variable as a global variable so we can manipulate it in the onStep function. We made a state custom property to check if Pacman should be closing their mouth or in the process of opening their mouth. And then I'm just checking if Pacman's sweep angle is too little, meaning it's a wider open mouth because it's sweeping less around the circle, then I want to, if it's open enough, I want to start closing. So I'll set is closing to true. If it's closed enough, I'm checking, all right, if we're all the way closed, we're 360 degrees, well, then I want is closing to be set to false to signify that I want to start opening. And then what we check is if Pacman is closing their mouth, meaning that is closing is true, well, I start closing it. And otherwise, if that's not true, well, then I start opening it. So that's the review of it. There's our Pacman going. Hopefully you enjoyed this challenge and solution, and I'll see you next time.